Before starting this video, I do want to give a shout out to my patrons that support the channel. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are some great benefits for you if you want to look at the Patreon link down below. So with that out of the way, let's get into this week's video. What's going on YouTube? This is Devin coming back at you with another video today on Pub Stomp MTG. Glad to have you here. Today we're going to be looking at another commander from March of the Machine. We're combining Ghalta Primal Hunger and Mavren Fane Dusk Apostle into Ghalta and Mavren. This is a great 7 mana commander. I know 7 mana is pretty steep for a commander, but I feel like since you're in green, this is going to be providing a great effect for you. It does have trample, and whenever you attack, choose one. Create a tapped and attacking XX green dinosaur creature token with trample where X is the greatest power among other attacking creatures. You can choose that, or you can choose create X11 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink where X is the number of other attacking creatures. There's a very big stipulation on this commander right here. It does say whenever you attack, choose one. So this commander does not have to attack to get those triggers. You can have other creatures swinging in when Ghalta and Mavren are on the battlefield. So you're probably thinking to yourself, which ability do I want to focus more on? Do I want to get big creatures on the battlefield, or do I want to get a wide number of creatures on the battlefield? For me, why not choose both? This deck provides a great way of getting both of those options on here. There are a lot of various situations where you want to go tall, but there's other situations where you want to go wide. Why not go both? We do have options for both in this deck tech right here, but let's first go over some token doublers. Token doublers are definitely essential into this token themed deck right here so that we can get a lot of value, like having Anointed Procession, Mondrak Glory Dominus, and Parallel Lives, essentially creating twice the number of tokens we will produce. I know the biggest problem is that these don't fit into a lot of people's budget restrictions. I'm definitely okay with proxying. Definitely these are proxyable cards for sure. Nobody would blame you right there. But this is definitely a viable strategy to get as much tokens on the battlefield as possible. Or if you want to just get a lot of tokens on the battlefield that are just big angry dinosaurs, definitely have that option right there. Also, speaking of great token support, we do have some great support in Selesnya. We do have Second Harvest for 4 mana. You can double the amount of tokens that are on the battlefield. This is just really good overall in here because you want to make sure you have this at instant speed so that if someone tries to remove one of your tokens, you have this ready and available so that you can make that token. Also, I thought of a great removal option with Sundering Growth for 2 mana, green or white. You have an instant, destroy target artifact or enchantment, then you could populate. This definitely provides great redundancy while getting some removal in our deck right here, but let's also go over some different options here. However, if you want to focus more on the game plan of going wide, we do have some great options like Myrel, Shield of Argive. This is just a great card overall, acting as a piece so that your opponents can't cast spells on your turn, and on top of that, just making a lot of the 1/1 soldier tokens on top of that. It's just a great card to add into this list. I also did think about Adeline Resplendent Cathar. This acts as a great way to go both wide and go tall. For example, its power is equal to the number of creatures you control. Say for example your commander's on the battlefield and you swing with Adeline. Instead of going wide with a lot of creature tokens, say for example if her power is like a 12-4, we could definitely go tall, making a 12-12 dinosaur with trample attacking. This is probably one of the best cards in this deck because you could go both wide and tall with this card right here. However, let's shift our focus back to going wide. Let's talk about Felidar Retreat. Whenever a land enters the battlefield, you can choose one. Create a 2/2 white cat beast creature token, or you can put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Those creatures gain vigilance until end of turn. We do have a good amount of lands in here that we could keep on getting value off of this card right here. Also, if you do plan to go wide, why not add in Jaheira, Friend of the Forest, where your tokens could tap for green mana. We could also have Cryptolith right in here, but this is more of a budget option right here if you wanted to add it in here. But honestly, tokens you control have green mana will pay for a lot of our big game-ending spells. But let's shift our focus to the Dinosaur Queen right here. We do have Huatli, Radiant Champion. For 4 mana, we get a Planeswalker that has a great +1, getting loyalty counters for each creature you control. So say for example we have 10 creatures, we'll get 10 loyalty plus that 1 with that 3. So essentially we'll get 14 loyalty on top of that. She also has a great way to provide our creatures so that if we want to go tall, we can do that with her -1 ability. Target creature gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. So if we do have our commander out and we have a wide enough army, we could definitely put that buff into one creature and then swing away and then get another big creature on the battlefield with our commander. She also does have an insane ultimate that's really easy to get because we're going wide with tokens, and you get an emblem whenever your creature enters the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. It doesn't have a stipulation of a non-token creature right here, so if we swing with a huge army with our commander, we can make that much tokens on the battlefield, and we're just going to be drawing so much cards off of this commander. And Hulatli, it's going to be ridiculous. Also, speaking of drawing cards, we do also have Benny Bragg Zoologist. Whenever at the beginning of each end step, if you created a token this turn, you draw a card. That's simple, very easy. You're just going to get some value right there. And also on top of that, we do have Rite of Harmony. For 2 mana, the ceiling is absolutely high with this card. Whenever a creature or an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control this turn, you draw a card. But we're really focusing on that creature. But say for example, we're swinging with 20 creature tokens on the battlefield, and we have our commander on the battlefield. We make that much tokens on the battlefield, and then we draw like that much cards. Absolutely ridiculous right here. Definitely an auto include for sure. Since we do have creatures entering the battlefield left and right, let's get some benefits off of that. We do have Aura Shards. I know a lot of people don't like it because it's almost a removal magnet, removing things left and right, no big deal. But in this deck, we're just going to be clearing the board of any enchantment or artifact that's on the battlefield under your opponent's control. Also, why not buff up all your creature tokens with Cathar's Crusade? This is going to be ridiculous how much math you're going to be doing whenever creatures are going to be entering the battlefield when you attack either with your commander or some other creatures. Say for example, you're swinging in with 20 creatures with Cathar's Crusade on the battlefield with your commander. Oh yikes, that's going to be ridiculous because you're going to be swinging in and then making 20 vampire creature tokens on the battlefield, and when they enter the battlefield, they're all going to trigger simultaneously so that all your creatures get 20 counters on them. Oh yikes, that's absolutely ridiculous. You're going to be definitely ending the game right then and there and gaining a whole bunch of life. Also, since a lot of creatures are entering the battlefield, we might as well have Champion of Lamphold in here because whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Lamphold. And it does have that ability of creatures with power less than Champion of Lamphold's power can't block creatures you control. So if we do have a lot of token generation, this is going to be easy unblockable for all our creatures right here. But let's talk about some game enders right here. We do have Elish Norn Grand Cenobite. This is just great overall in here. If we're going with the go wide strategy again, other creatures you control get +2/+2, and creatures your opponents control get -2/-2. However, if we do want to push the envelope even further, we do have Craterhoof Behemoth, a classic all-star and an overrun strategy with a lot of tokens. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. In that similar strategy, if we're going both wide and tall, we must include Pathbreaker Ibex. Whenever it attacks, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. So if we are getting wide with Ghalta and Mavren, we're going to have all our creatures get +12/+12 and trample with all our little weenies and big creatures combined. I do feel like this is a pretty neat strategy with this commander right here because it's not just focusing on going wide, but we also want to go tall. I know people are probably going to think one way or the other, but I honestly think both is just a great strategy overall because honestly, you could do both. Pathbreaker Ibex is a perfect example of that, where if you have a big creature on the board, it acts as another overwhelm effect. However, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming by and watching this video on this brand new commander with Ghalta and Mavren. I really like this card. It actually has great sets for what it is. It is a 7 mana for a 12/12. If anything else, you can just swing 2 times for commander lethal damage. I did notice a lot of different people overreading that first part of the line. Whenever you attack, choose one. It's whenever you attack, not when Ghalta and Mavren attack. So this could happen right when it enters on the battlefield. You could swing in with other creatures so that you could get immediate value with Ghalta and Mavren. I know this is not a token doubler, but it sure feels like it. When you're swinging in with like 10 creatures, you're going to make an additional 10 creatures on top of that. Or if they have huge power, you're just going to make a huge creature instead. Either one, whatever floats your boat right here. I feel like with Ghalta and Mavren, it's pretty wide open where if you want to go tall, you can definitely go tall. But if you want to go wide, you can go wide. But with this strategy right here, I decided to do both because they both uniquely work together and interwoven together right here. But let me know down below, what are your thoughts about Ghalta and Mavren? Do you feel like this is a pretty big commander? Do you feel like it's super powerful? Do you feel like it's kind of underwhelming? Let me know down below, what are your thoughts? Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. That's definitely the best way to support the channel. And with that out of the way, thank you for stomping by.